Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, host of the program, and the owner broker of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, most home sellers have a great deal of love for their properties, and sometimes that translates into a little bit of an unrealistic belief, resulting in mistakes either in agent selection, pricing, or marketing, or all of those. What should a home seller do if their house is not selling?
Well, Richard, it's only three possible things. It's price, it's how it's promoted, or it's preparation. And basically, if you mess up any one of those, it could be enough to prevent buyers from coming to look at your home, especially pricing and promotion. I've had some homes that weren't pretty. They weren't updated. The seller chose to sell them as is. They understand they have flaws. There was a price for that. And those homes, because it was a good price in a great location, got bidding wars and still sold for over asking price, even in this market. So, but preparation for most people getting their house ready for sale, it's really important that you hire somebody that knows how to do that. Not everybody knows how to do that. I get help. I have an interior designer help me because it takes kind of a artistic brain to look at a room and go, okay, this will look good on camera. I can't do it. I know when I see the pictures whether or not it's good or bad. But if I look at an empty room, I have no idea what to do with it. You almost have to be wired to visualize stuff like that. So I get help. I have somebody on my team that helps me do that. That's not a real estate agent. And here's what's weird about the industry in general. It's only 1 month of school to be a real estate agent. There's very little training, very little standardization. And my experience was, and it has not changed, you get your license, you go hang it with a broker somewhere, and that means the broker gets some of the commission if and when you do get sales. But the part that they don't teach you is how to get sales, how to get business. They're not very good. And most of the time, a lot of these brokers are teaching agents to go out and knock on doors. Now, Richard, if somebody came to your door, would you answer the door?
I was just going to say, I probably wouldn't even answer the door. And if I did, that's not how I'm going to interact or even talk with anybody about selling my home or doing repairs on my home or anything. It's
Right.
horrible.
It's a big decision, but that is the training on how to get business. So the industry is very weak on teaching agents how to get business, and that's why there's such massive turnover. Every 5 years, 87% of the agents get out of the business, and according to Zillow, last year only 71% of agents sold zero homes, zero, which is like, why are you even in the business if you're not selling homes? But the problem is that defect. They don't know how to get business. And I remember when I started in the business, I would ask some other agents that at the office that I was at, how do I do this or how do I do that? And of course, they were very resistant to share with me because they were training their competition, which I get it. And then later on, I asked the broker, so, okay, I'm kind of new in town. I don't know a lot of people. How do I get business? And his answer was pick up the phone book and cold call people. And nowadays, first of all, if you're on the do not call list, that's illegal. Second of all, a lot of people will screen their calls, like who is calling me? It says spam. They won't answer the phone if they don't recognize the number. Is that true for you, Richard? Or
Without a doubt. Without,
yeah.
if I don't know who it is, even if the number comes up, I'm still not answering it.
Yeah. So for me, I learned how to market, and the way I market, people contact me, which is awesome. I'm having a lot of fun with it. But the other issue is pricing. So if the public assumption is that they think real estate agents, all of them, whoever they talk to, understand the market, understand that house that they're looking at, and they know everything about the market, right? They're just assuming they're experts in everything. It's hard to be an expert in everything. So for pricing, we've got some of these products out there, like Zillow has their Zestimate and Realtor.com has their automated valuations. Even the tax assessor is sending you a statement saying how much your house, they're basing their tax valuation on your home, which affects your property taxes. It doesn't necessarily mean how much a buyer is going to pay for your home. So you can't really rely on those online estimates on home value, because it doesn't necessarily mean what a buyer is going to pay for your house. So a lot of people will rely on what the agent says. Well, my agent said the house is worth X, right? But they forget their agent has kind of an ulterior motive, in that they want to get you to sign the agreement so they have a listing, so they either get that one sold or get buyers to call off that listing and sell them something else. So that's kind of how it works. And they don't real I remember I had a home seller that asked me to take over the listing after he was working with this agent all through the summer, and it was going up towards Teller County, where really the prime time in Teller County a lot of times is the summer. It's so pretty up there in the summertime. So all summer long, kept the same price. And basically the agent just ghosted him for over 90 days and nothing happened. And then he tried to set up a meeting with the agent, and the agent didn't show up. And finally that was the catalyst to say, all right, forget it. I think I'm going to make a change. And he goes, well, this was the price that the agent told me to price the home. I didn't know any better, but we haven't had any showings, or hardly any showings. I don't get feedback on what happened on the showings, and it's not working. So he hired me, and I was able to get the house sold in just 2 weeks. But at the end of the day, it's not the agent that decides the selling price, it's the market that decides. And you'll know right away if you price the home right. If buyers are wanting to see it, if you get a lot of inquiries about it, that's a really good sign that the home is priced right and the market is interested in it. But it's just a wild guess. So most agents rely on historic similar sales to say, well, that one's like yours, and that should mean that it would sell. But there's a lot of outside factors involved that may not be really obvious. Like, as an example, if you have new construction around the area, the builders right now are giving away the farm to get buyers to come over to buy their homes versus the existing homes on the market. They're doing things, I've heard numbers as high as 25, 35,000 in incentives, meaning those buyers could come in and get all their closing costs paid, get extra money to buy down their interest rate, get extra money for whatever kind of upgrade they want in the house, as long as you come on in and buy one of these new homes. That's tough to compete with in a resale market. So you really have to understand that and be priced very realistically. So what we've seen in the last couple of months is that the median prices have dropped about $30,000 just in El Paso County. And that's pretty consistent all along the Front Range since July. And what that means is you've got more supply, less demand. Ultimately, the prices are going to walk down until those people get a buyer. And then the third issue is promotion. Now, this is all the agent's court. Agents are responsible for promotion. In my view, taking pictures and posting it in the MLS and hoping some other agent has a buyer is not good enough. And we do a lot more than that. You have to make sure the photos are really good, but then you also have to respond to the market. And sometimes there's stubbornness on the seller's market, on the seller side to say, well, but this one sold for this, so my home should sell for that. And not every seller is completely realistic about the price, or they'll say, if I don't get this much, then I'll just take it off the market. Okay, so it doesn't matter what the seller says or what the agent says. It's the buyers and the market that decide what the home is going to sell for. And you want an agent that really knows how to get that right. Now, as far as switching agents, I'm not suggesting you switch. I would say first, talk with your agent and find out what they know and what's going on. Give them a chance to resolve it. The state contracts are kind of not clear. They just say, If the agent didn't do what they promised, either verbally or in writing, then you could fire them. Okay. And some agents will offer, like we do, a cancellation guarantee. If you're not happy, you could fire us, no harm, no foul, because we want happy clients. But I would say that's step one. But you want to talk about what are the reasons why this is not moving. Do you have a communication problem? Do you have a pricing problem? Do you have a promotion problem? Their job is to be on your side to try to get you the most money as best as they can. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about how to change real estate agents if the sale is not working. And next up, we're going to talk about exactly how and why you might want to make a change. If you are thinking of making a move, we'd love to be one of the agents you interview. Just give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker. She is your real estate voice. She's with Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, call her at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Now, Barb, if a home seller has to make a real estate agent switch, what are the reasons and the ways to change real estate agents?
Well, one thing that I think is very interesting is the state contract, which is the agreement to handle the sale called the exclusive right to list or whatever. It doesn't say anything in there about agent performance. There's no performance criteria. There's no guarantees. There's no special offers other than they're supposed to be an advocate for you. Okay. So it depends on what they said. And there's a lot of subjectiveness in it. Like if you sign just a regular state form and your contract is going to be for 6 months, if they signed as a fiduciary, meaning they have to put your needs ahead of theirs, and if you don't feel like they're doing that, that's a right to cancel right there. But you have to be able to articulate it. And there are some agents that will say, okay, fine, you can cancel me, but anybody that's shown the house during my listing, if they come back and buy, you owe me a commission too. Well, guess what? That's not what the contract says. What the contract says is, and it's only if you check that box, that if somebody brings an offer during your listing and they come back and buy, you might owe listing agent number one a commission. So a lot of people don't really understand what's in the contract. So I get a lot of questions about that. But the things that matter essentially at the end of the day are pricing, preparation, and promotion. And if they abandon you, if they just ghost you and they're not talking to you anymore, that's a problem. That's not fulfilling their uniform duties or additional duties. What would be the reason? What if they said that, okay, they're going to do this every week or whatever, and it didn't happen? That's a good reason to say, all right, it's not working. And then the biggest fear is owing to commissions. So if you're going to switch from one agent to another, do you really owe 2 commissions or not? So you have to kind of stand your ground on this issue. I've had agents come back and just float out an amendment to say, okay, anybody that showed means that you owe me a commission. Well, that's not what the original contract says. And if I was the seller, I would not sign that. According to the law, this thing about presenting an offer has to be what they call an unbroken chain of events, meaning they brought an offer, you started negotiating, etc. And then they stopped for whatever reason. And I have had people do that with my own listings where they came and saw it months before. They loved the house, but for some reason they didn't buy it. And then they come back a month or two later and go, okay, I'll take it. So sometimes those things do happen, but you just want to be very clear what your agreement is in the contract. And, at the end of the day, breaking up is not comfortable. Nobody wants to do that, but just be open and honest. Maybe that they can resolve the issue and then you can just move forward. So it's really up to you. And at the end of the day, you want to get your goal is to sell your home for the highest price with the least amount of hassle. So if you are thinking of making a move, that's what we do for clients every single day. Give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making that move, call Barb 719-301-3900. Or, of course, you can always visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing what fees are deducted when you're selling a house here in Colorado. Barb will explain that.